how did those make you feel? And how do these reviews make you feel?
Honestly, I need a second session.
Let me therapy you for a second, Peter. Not because you can't be real. Not because you can't be the white gay Oprah of YouTube like I know you try to put yourself out there to be while you're being shady as fuck. It's because you don't care to. I think you enjoy being an asshole and manipulating to look like the good guy. I think it gives you a power trip. You love being around mentally ill people because it gives you a power trip. I think that you enjoy exactly what's going on.
Again, this kid literally looks about 12 years old, and this face is obviously being put alongside porn. But there's pictures of boys that literally look about 14, literally 14 years old. Again, we've got more pictures of boys that literally look like 14, 15 years old. Tell me, is this boy over 16? Is this boy over 16? He literally looks about 12 years old.
Monn made a second apology, and to me, it didn't move me, it didn't do anything to me, because in my eyes, if you want to apologize and you want people to accept it, you need to show that you are a good person. And I just honestly don't think he's a good person, and that's up to you. That's my opinion. I mean, I was going through his Instagram the other day, and he was taking photos way back in the day of some bigger guy at a bar and making the caption "hungry." And my thing is, what happened if this guy went home, got on Instagram, and saw that someone took a photo of him sitting alone at a bar with the caption "hungry"? Honestly, your fat friends like Miss Fucking Wonderful, they might think that this shit is funny if you took a picture of her, but not everyone's like that. People are sensitive. I am not a bully. This is bullying behavior. You know? All of these Africa tweets and all of these other tweets and this fat shaming you didn't even address. And I mean, I'm almost so done talking about Peter Monn because I don't think that he's a good person. It's so funny that Nick Snyder, Dustin Daly, Peter Monn, they're all these social justice warriors. They will go up to bat up against anybody. But when one of their friends is being a piece of shit and saying all these inappropriate things that are unacceptable, they don't take a stance. Talk about people way above them who can never come back down to address them.
You take it! I am invincible! I am the leader of the wolf pack! Peter Monn! Peter Monn! Shut up, Paige! Shut up!
Bye, have a great time.
The point is that Peter is using their present relationship as proof of his moral position while withholding the part of their history that would require humility from him. Back and forth creates an artificial symmetry. It turns a recorded display of Peter dismissing and overpowering Paige into a foggy story of two equally difficult personalities. Instead, Peter grants himself a vague historical pardon and moves immediately into the role of Paige's champion. That is not full accountability. It is reputation management through selective memory. His condemnation of a backlash-driven apology mirrors his own response to the tweets. The sharpest contradiction appears when Peter evaluates the other creator's apology. He argues that the apology was insincere because it came after backlash, included excuses, expressed concern about a future YouTube career and did not fully retract the original criticism. He repeatedly ridicules the idea of apologizing only after public pressure and suggests that someone holding racist beliefs cannot simply make a video, apologize and move forward. Peter's own, addressing the tweets, video from September 2018 is therefore essential context. In that video, Peter acknowledged that numerous tweets were his. He addressed repeated uses of terms such as ghetto and hood, an abbreviated form of the N-word, an anti-gay slur, a remark about a stupid Mexican boy, a tweet about going into a meeting with monkeys, a degrading comment connected to abortion, classist remarks about food stamps and leather boots, and insulting or sexualized statements about women. "Don't hold me to something I did 10 years ago" is not a substitute for demonstrated change. At approximately 10 minutes and 27 seconds in the new video, Peter asks viewers not to hold him to something he did 10 years ago. He says he may reference an influencer's old conduct only when that person continues displaying the same behavior in 2026. On its face, that is a reasonable distinction. No person should be permanently reduced to the worst thing they said years ago if they have genuinely changed. But change cannot be established merely by declaring oneself changed. When someone assumes the role of moral authority on the exact subjects implicated by his past behavior, the past becomes relevant, not as a life sentence, but as a test of credibility. If Peter truly believes in growth, he should be able to extend its possibility to others without minimizing the harm they caused. If he believes certain statements reveal a character defect so deep that a video apology cannot address it, then he must explain why his own collection of offensive tweets did not disqualify him under that same rule. Peter demands exile for others but grace and continued access for himself. The new video repeatedly tells the other creator that they do not belong on YouTube. Peter criticizes the deletion of the channel as running away, but he also speaks as though the person's presence on the platform is itself dangerous. The rhetoric leaves no meaningful route toward repair. Apologizing is treated as self-serving, explaining is treated as excuse-making, deleting is treated as cowardice, and remaining online is treated as proof that the person does not understand the seriousness of the harm. Compare that with Peter's conclusion in 2018. After acknowledging his tweets, he explicitly stated that he was not going to hide and that he would continue making drama videos because he loved doing so. He asked viewers to remain with him while he learned and grew. In other words, Peter believed that accountability should permit him to retain his audience, his voice, and his place on the platform. Why is the pathway Peter claimed for himself unavailable to another person? The answer cannot be that his tweets were older, because he was already a grown adult when he posted many of them. It cannot be that he apologized, because the new video insists that an apology after backlash may merely be a performance. It cannot be that he explained the context, because he attacks contextual explanations in the other apology, and it cannot simply be that he has changed, because the evidence he offers for that change is largely his own assessment of himself. This is what makes his outrage feel less like a universal principle and more like a hierarchy with Peter at the top. He decides whose apology counts, whose past should be forgotten, whose pain is legitimate and who deserves banishment. His moral code appears strict when judging outsiders and flexible when judging Peter Monn. Social justice language becomes both a sword and a shield. Peter uses the language of privilege, marginalized communities, harmful stereotypes and systemic racism throughout the video. White creators can and should educate themselves about racism, and allies should speak when black women are subjected to racialized treatment. The problem is not that Peter, as a white man, discusses anti-black stereotypes. The problem is how he uses that language to establish himself as an authority and protect himself from adjacent criticism. At one point, Peter moves from condemning the stereotype imposed upon Paige to arguing that it is dangerous to portray a white gay man as a misogynist. This framing collapses an evidence-based criticism into an identity-based attack. There is no contradiction in recognizing that gay men experience homophobia while also acknowledging that gay men can express misogyny. Marginalization in one area does not grant immunity from accountability in another. Peter's old tweets make this especially important. A person who has publicly acknowledged using racist, sexist, classist, and homophobic language should approach this subject with care and self-awareness. He could use his past to explain how prejudice can appear in jokes, casual language, and defensive rationalizations. Instead, his history disappears while the language of social justice is directed outward. The concepts become tools for identifying everyone else's moral failures but rarely instruments for examining his own. This outward-only application is a hallmark of performance. The vocabulary signals virtue, but the underlying habit, centering himself, dismissing criticism and granting himself exceptional context, remains intact. The performance offers Peter moral authority without requiring meaningful risk. He gained an opportunity to describe himself as informed, compassionate, and protective while also answering criticism aimed at him by unrelated channels. What did he risk? He did not revisit his tweets in detail. He did not acknowledge how his own language might affect the credibility of his argument. He did not name the way he treated Paige during their 2018 exchange. He did not ask whether some criticism of his treatment of women might be grounded in evidence rather than homophobia. He did not surrender the role of judge long enough to become accountable himself. The performative element lies in how the video is constructed. Paige's pain supplies the moral setting, Peter's outrage supplies the drama, Peter's grievances occupy a large portion of the runtime, and Peter emerges as the authority who decides who has learned and who must leave. The emotional intensity of the video should not be confused with accountability. Raising one's voice, swearing, crying or appearing furious can communicate genuine emotion, but emotion is not consistency. Peter does not say, "Recognize the defensive structure of this apology because I once made a backlash-driven video about my own tweets." Peter presents his history as settled and everyone else's as evidence. He requests nuance for himself and offers condemnation to others. He describes his own offensive posts as mistakes from which he learned, while treating another creator's offensive commentary as proof that they do not belong online. Peter Monn's defense of Paige Christie is performative. It is performative because the video allows him to borrow moral authority from Paige's experience while withholding the parts of his own record that complicate the role he has chosen for himself. He condemns backlash-driven apologies, although his own tweet response followed public pressure. He mocks contextual explanations, although he contextualized many of his tweets. He says racist beliefs cannot be handled through a video and then forgotten, although he used a video to address his own racialized language and return to regular content. He says another creator does not belong on YouTube, although he insisted that his own offensive history should not drive him from the platform. Dear Peter Monn, take your performative bullshit and shove it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled drama. Alex may not have swooned. Peter has called an emergency meeting. Peter stood beneath the red light, waiting for romantic praise. He expected hearts and violins and compliments for days, but Alex gave a little shrug, he didn't gasp or faint, and suddenly the living room became a formal complaint. The camera's rolling, candles lit, Peter's ready to unpack how one tiny conversation was a personal attack. Oh no, Alex did swoon. Sound the alarms and clear the room. Cue another grand monologue with 47 chapters on the vlog. Alex didn't faint or shout, he didn't say you knocked me out. Now Peter's pacing back and forth. It's an attraction emergency. Of course. Do you think I'm handsome? Peter casually inquired. But the answer that he wanted was apparently pre-required. Alex paused for half a second, that was quite enough to start a 3-hour investigation of the marriage in his heart. He'll analyze the wording, every syllable and breath, and tell us that he's totally fine, approximately 20 times to death. Oh no, Alex didn't swoon. Alert, the press will hear it soon. A breaking news relationship shock. Peter's feelings are officially on the clock. Alex didn't clap or cheers or bring the microphone over here. There'll be a live stream after 4, then 6 reaction videos and maybe more. Maybe Alex said, "You look just fine." But Peter wanted, "You're divine." He wanted fireworks, a marching band, and Alex waving roses in each hand. Instead he got a normal spouse who didn't put on a Broadway show. So Peter grabbed the camera and cried, "Gather round, because you need to know. I'm not upset." Also Peter uploads a 70-minute video entitled absolutely not upset. Oh no, Alex didn't swoon. The household entered crisis at noon. Ring lights blown, the grievances locked. One little answer and the whole house rocked. No standing ovation, no cheering crowd. Alex simply didn't say it loud. But don't you worry, by 3:30, Peter will explain it repeatedly. So send some flowers, send support, file the official attraction report. Alex didn't think when Peter walked through the door, and Reddit whispered, maybe that's what he flipped out for. This has been an Alex attraction emergency. Please remain calm and step away from the ring light. Peter is on his fainting couch.